1440. Good morning. It's Thursday, June 4th, and we're keeping an eye on the third named storm of the young hurricane season. Need to know. More charges in Floyd death. The 3 other Minneapolis police officers present during the death of George Floyd will be charged with crimes including aiding and abetting murder, officials announced yesterday. And I'm not really opposed to that. That's fine. If they were there and they let it happen, that's fucked up. The charge against former officer Derek Chauvin, shown on video kneeling on Floyd's neck and back for almost 9 minutes, was upgraded from 3rd to 2nd-degree murder. See the difference here. Protests continued but were calmer than previous nights, with sporadic violence and looting seen in cities across the country. As long as there's any violence and looting, that's too much. Just stop. Stop the bad behavior. You're making everybody look bad. 3 police officers suffered injuries when a man ambushed an anti-looting patrol in New York City. More than 10,000 people have been arrested thus far during the demonstrations. But how many are being forthwith released because of COVID fears? Because that's a thing. Look into that. Separately, Defense Secretary Mark Esper said yesterday he opposed using active duty troops to help quell protests. The comments follow President Trump's consideration of the idea, which would require invoking the Insurrection Act of 1807. See background on the law here. In a rare public rebuke, former Trump administration Defense Secretary General James Mattis directly criticized the president's response to the protests. Read his full statement here. Trump responded overnight, tweeting that Mattis was overrated and saying he was glad to have fired him. Finally, the protests have sparked demonstrations in a number of cities across the world, many tying in local grievances against police and security enforcement. Demonstrations is such a nice word. A memorial for Floyd will be held today in Minneapolis, with private burial services planned Tuesday in Houston, where Floyd was raised. Cristobal meanders over Mexico. Tropical storm Cristobal made landfall in Mexico yesterday, bringing 60-mile-per-hour winds and up to 20 inches of rain to the country's Gulf Coast region. The system is expected to move slowly, currently at 3 miles per hour, up the western Yucatan Peninsula before heading into the Gulf of Mexico late Friday. It is currently projected to move northward, hitting New Orleans late Sunday or early Monday. Cristobal is the 3rd named storm, meaning sustained surface winds of at least 39 miles per hour, of the young Atlantic hurricane season, which officially started Monday. It is the earliest that 3 named storms have formed this soon in the year. Forecasts suggest a busy season with 19 named storms projected, 7 more than seen on average. Models predict 3 to 6 of the systems will turn into Category 3 storms or higher. What are the other names? They must be A and B names, right? The NBA heads to Disneyland. NBA officials are expected to approve today a unique proposal that would see play return by August, with all games being held at the Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. The plan calls for 22 teams, 13 from the Western Conference and 9 from the Eastern Conference. Why the disparity? Are there less teams in the Eastern Conference overall? See, I don't know these things. I don't watch basketball. To play a truncated regular season followed by playoffs. Under the proposal, the 16 top teams in the league will be joined by 6 teams currently competing for 8th place in each conference, the usual cutoff for the playoffs. 8 teams with poor records will not be invited, effectively ending their 2019-20 season. Games will be played at the resort's Wide World of Sports complex, which includes 3 arenas, but will reportedly be held without fans. When play was suspended March 11th, the Milwaukee Bucks, 53-12, and Los Angeles Lakers, 49-14, led the East and West respectively. See the full standings here. Time to excel at problem solving. From Brilliant. Know what'll never be overrated? Problem-solving skills. Learning how the world works and developing the tools to understand it are valuable now and always. And seems like fewer and fewer people have them. More than your average puzzles, Brilliant helps you develop quantitative intuition in math, science, and computer science with a hands-on approach. Their unique courses have storytelling, interactive challenges, problems to solve, and code to write. With Brilliant, you'll unravel concepts bit by bit, build up new ways of thinking, and discover deep truths in unexpected places. So, what are you waiting for? Head to Brilliant to excel in math and science. The first 200 signups get 20% off annual subscriptions using this link. Please support our sponsors. In the Know: Sports, Entertainment, and Culture. Cannes Film Festival reveals its 2020 lineup, which includes films by Wes Anderson, Steve McQueen, and Pixar. Selections come in lieu of an in-person festival. I've always been a little bit offended that there's a filmmaker named Steve McQueen. He should have changed his name. Or if that's what he changed his name to, he should not have done that. At least spell it differently, geez. Major League Soccer players approve plan to restart 2020 season, including a tournament at Disney World in Orlando. Johnny Majors, College Football Hall of Fame player and coach, dies at 85. New York City Pride, along with GLAAD and the National LGBTQ Task Force, announced a virtual rally to protest against police brutality. Will be held Friday, June 26th. What, too scared to go out and get germs on you? Science and technology. Damage to cells lining blood vessels may be responsible for cases where COVID-19 patients quickly deteriorate days after hospitalization. Large-scale study finds no preventative benefit of hydroxychloroquine against COVID-19, but questions raised about Lancet study of its effectiveness as a treatment. Early Mayan sites revealed by airborne light detection and ranging sensors found to be much larger and older than previously thought. How LiDAR, a precise method to aid 3D mapping, is revolutionizing archaeology. Scientists recreate hair follicles from pluripotent human stem cells, pointing toward a treatment for baldness and potentially disfiguration from scars, injuries, and disorders. Business and markets. U.S. stock markets up. S&P 500 up 1.4%. Dow up 2.1%. Nice. NASDAQ up 0.8%. What the fuck, NASDAQ? Get your shit together. As economic recovery optimism continues. S&P 500 experiencing its best 50-day rally of all time. Japanese tech giant SoftBank launching $100 million fund to invest in companies led by entrepreneurs of color. Oh, lovely. Third largest record label Warner Music soars 20% in first day trading as public company. Business intelligence platform ZoomInfo prices IPO above range will start trading today. Politics and world affairs. U.S. reports 1.85 million coronavirus cases with 107,175 deaths as of this morning, a 1% rise in deaths since yesterday. So for the past 3 days, at least, we've just been having a 1% rise. See a comparison of daily cases with each state's reopening status. You know what I'd be interested in? I would be interested in seeing how many recoveries. Like, I know you can just figure that out by doing some math, but why does that number never get thrown out there? You know, along with the number of deaths? Huh? Former President Barack Obama holds virtual town hall on police violence. Ugh. Watch here. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam. Ugh. To order the removal of Richmond's statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Fuck you, dude. Ugh. U.S. to block Chinese airlines from flying in or out of the U.S. because removing history is the way to go, right? Just black it all out. Ha. U.S. to block Chinese airlines from flying in or out of the U.S. beginning June 16th, citing Chinese restrictions on U.S. carriers limiting passenger air travel. Hong Kong passes law banning mockery of Chinese national anthem. Oh my goodness. See, we don't have that law, pretty sure. We have citizens who love this country enough to make a stink when things like that happen. You know, less and less and less and less and less as the years go by. But I'm just saying, we don't have that law. In depth, inside the Boogaloo movement, from Bellingcat. I'm sure this will be very objective and informative. Rumors have swirled around the influence of outside groups, many with conflicting ideologies unrelated to George Floyd, leveraging, how about those ideologies that say, hey, give me that fucking TV, dude? Leveraging protests around the country to foment violence. Take a look at the Boogaloo Boys, a loosely organized anti-government group matriculating into the mainstream via social media. That's who you want to look at. That's who you want to look at, not Antifa, not Black Lives Matter. Something in the air, from Verge. One of the more difficult to swallow conspiracy theories that emerged during the pandemic is that 5G, a new global standard for wireless telecommunications, is fueling the spread of the coronavirus. Now, its adherents have moved from destroying wireless stations to harassing and attacking telecom engineers. Lovely. Very classy. What do employers want? The top 10 skills that employers look for include problem solving, critical thinking, and communication. Are you spending time developing these skills? Today's the day you sign up for the premier problem-solving platform to put yourself in the right direction for a successful, distinguished career. Take advantage of 20% off the annual Brilliant subscription for the first 200 of you, and stand out from the rest. Please support our sponsors, etc. What app downloads tell us about how protesters are organizing? Murals honoring the George Floyd protests stretch as far as Syria. You know what would be more interesting is looking back at how Martin Luther King Jr. and whatever other leaders they had then were organizing their protests. Because it seemed to work out pretty well. Maybe we should go back to that. Unlucky man emerges from a 75-day silent retreat. From our partners, stop paying too much for your energy. Instantly compare all suppliers and switch to the cheapest one for free. Save up to 37% now. Ad. Navigate the misinformation tsunami with this simple comic. Science pinpoints the cleanest air on Earth. The best movies of 2020 so far. The first dog in the U.S. to test positive for the coronavirus is Buddy the German Shepherd. One Belgian man receives a decade's worth of false pizza orders. What? Clickbait. K-pop fans are the heroes we need right now. I'm not clicking on that. History book. U.S. Congress passes 19th Amendment granting suffrage to women, 1919. Battle of Midway starts, 1942. Happy birthday, Angelina Jolie, 1975. Hundreds killed at Tiananmen Square protests, 1989. Rest in peace basketball coaching legend John Wooden, 2010. Make each day your masterpiece, John Wooden. Thank you very much. This has been Sundry News.